Hi, my name's Ashley. Welcome to the MyoBloom Grow series. Thank you for being here. Tonight is the first of 5 workshops on creating content for your myofunctional therapy practice using Canva, among other tools. Your registration email and link to this webinar included what you need for tonight's workshop. Whether you have that up and ready now to follow along or you plan to apply your new skills later, those emails will let you know what you need to do what I'm doing on my screen. So for tonight, all you need is a Canva account. Canva is a graphic design program that can make anyone without training in graphic design feel like they have completely nailed it, which is why it's so fun to use. You need the free tier for what we're doing tonight, but if you want to access premium graphics and tools, you will need the Canva Pro subscription. I pay $120 a year for my subscription. That saves me $60 because otherwise it's $15 a month. I went a long time without using the pro tier, and that was just fine. And occasionally I would use a graphic that, would cost me $1 or $2, but it made more sense than paying $15 a month because I wasn't using it that much, but now I use it all the time. All right, so let's get right into it. We're going to go to canva.com. I'm already signed in. So we're going to create a new design. So what would you like to create? You've got all kinds of cool things to choose from. If you haven't played with Canva before, there's so many awesome things that you can do here. There's flyers, you've got Instagram posts. There are sizes and shapes and prompts for a million different kinds of projects. So it's very cool. I use size A4 for my session sheets, which is just the typical printed piece of paper. So we're going to type in A4. And I'm going to use not portrait, but landscape orientation. So we're going to click on this. All right, here's our blank canvas. So I'm going to show you all these different options here on the left. So for design, there's all kinds of pre-made designs. Now, with anything that you see in Canva that has this little gray crown, it means that it's only available in the pro version. So if I try to use something like this and I don't have a pro account, either it's not going to let me or it's going to have a bunch of lines through it that is called the watermark. And you have to pay to get rid of those. So those are the different designs. And then elements is what we're going to use most today. There's all different kinds of graphics, photos, videos, all the different things that you can put in here. And you have text. Now you can just use this purple button to add a text box. You can click on any one of these if you want it to look, you want this big bold one, then you can just choose that. There's all kinds of cool ones down here as well. Again, you'll see there's the crowns on some of them, but you'll see all these different versions. You can pull them in and you can play with them. So in this text box, I'm just going to show you how we can play with this. So we're going to play with text. You can choose your font here. So many different ones to choose from. And you've got your size here. You can make it bigger and smaller. You got your color. You can change that to whatever you'd like. And then, of course, your bold, italic, underline, all those different versions. You can align it left, right, and center. You can give it bullets. Spacing, letter spacing is going to make them wider apart. Line spacing is going to change how much space is between the actual lines. And then anchor text box is going to align your text in the middle or the top or the bottom of your box. You can't really see that here, so we're going to go back to that once we start playing with shapes. Then you've got transparency here. You can make it more transparent. That can be fun when you're using layering. We'll go back to that. And then effects, you can do all kinds of things. You can outline, you can do all these different crazy things with the text. All right, we're going to delete that. You can either go to the trash, you can press delete on your keyboard, or you can just bring it over here to the side and that'll trash it. Brand, this is a pro feature. And then you have uploads. This is where you're going to pull in your logo. So we can do that right now. You can go up here to upload files. You can go into your computer and you can find your logo. So I'm just going to bring in this so you guys can see something different because I already have my logo here. Now you can just click on these and it'll bring it right into the screen. Trash that, or you can drag it in if you have somewhere specific that you want to put it. You can play with the size. All right, and then you've got draw, got markers, pens, highlighters, erasers. There's different things you can do here if you want to freehand. I don't really use those. Projects is going to show you all of your other projects if you wanted to pull in something that you've already used and you want to bring that right into the project you're working on now. And then apps is something that I have not played with. All right, so we're going to start with a simple shape. I want a square. I'm going to type in square. Now I haven't pressed enter yet. It's going to bring up the quick add options here. But if you press enter, it's going to take you to the same thing. So you've got shapes, graphics, photos, frames, videos, audio. We're going to use shapes, and I'm going to show you many reasons why shapes are really cool. So we've got our gray square here. We can change the color. We can give it a border. You can use this toggle here to make a really wide border, or you can use the numbers here. We could just give it a really thin border and say 1, enter. All right, so now you see we've got this plain thin border. You can change the border color here. You can change the corners to be round, which I really like that feature. So I'm going to round out these corners. All right. And so with shapes in Canva, which I'll click see all so you can see. Oh, this is just showing squares. But like, see, you've got this text box. It's also got arrows and triangles, circles. It's got all kinds of things that you can use. All shapes are also text boxes. So this is going to be our first box that we're going to put an exercise in. So say that we're going to do TikToks. Instructions go here. I'm going to make the title bold and underlined. And then I'm going to shrink this box up. And I'm going to put it right here. Now, I typically have a lot more text in the box than this, so I'm going to shrink up this font a little bit so that it can fit more. You can also change, just the title to be bigger and the font to be smaller. They don't all have to be the same size. All right, so here's our starting point. Now you have up here is the option to duplicate. So I'm going to click that. It's going to make a second one. And I'm going to bring it right down below it. Now you see all these pink lines that are flashing around when I do different things. That's Canva trying to help us align this perfectly. So if I put this right in the middle of my screen, it's going to help me figure out where the center is. If I try to line it up here, it's going to help me put it right next to it or below it. And that's what we're going to do is we're going to put it right below it. All right. Now, instead of duplicating just one, we're going to duplicate 2 of them. So click that. Now, I usually give 4 active and 1 passive. So I'm just going to add 1 more on the bottom here. That'll be my passive exercise. So you can change these. If you didn't take AOMT, you might not know what waggle spot is. All right, so we've got some different exercises in here. And then for my passive, I'm going to do 1 elastic hold. All right. We're going to make the passive a different color. Now, that's a little too bright. So we're going to change that. And if you hover over the colors, see here, this is little, these toggle symbols. This is going to be so that you can change the color. Click on that and you can play with where you want this to be. Now, say that this isn't really the right shade of blue that you want anyway, so you want to go this more of this shade, you can change it here and then pick the shade that you like. Okay, so that's our first column. We're going to duplicate this. I'm going to use this to make a new column, how long I want the patient to do the exercise. So I want them to do the TikToks for 1 minute. I'm going to shrink this up, line it up right here. And then we're going to continue to do that for every exercise. And then for my 1 elastic hold, I want them to do it for 10 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to start some columns over here, and they're going to be the check off columns. I have people do their active exercises twice a day and their passive exercise once a day. So we're going to do another duplicate. I'm going to take out the text. I don't need anything in these boxes. I'm going to line this up here. Now this is going to be my day 1 column that's going to go here. So I'm going to shrink this up a little bit so that there's 2 boxes to check for this 1 exercise. I'm going to duplicate, bring this here. Now you'll see that the bottom of this box and the bottom of this box do not line up. So I'm going to shrink this. And this is one of the fun features about shapes in Canva is that you can select them all and change the size of them together and they'll shrink up and everything lines up nicely. Makes it really pretty. So we're going to complete this column. So now we have 2 check boxes for every active exercise. And then we need just 1 for our passive exercise. And then I'm actually going to make another one right up here. And this is where I'm going to indicate that this is day 1. Okay. Now I'm going to do 14 days. So I'll duplicate this whole column. Until we have 14 in a row here, because I usually do 2 weeks. Now we're not going to be able to fit 6 more in here. We're going to select these all and we are going to shrink them down. Oh, still wasn't enough space. That's okay. Great. All right, then we can go through and we can change these to day 2, day 3, all the way up to day 14. You don't have to say day at all if you just want to put the numbers in there. And then when you teach the patients what these session sheets, how they're used, that you can just let them know that that's what this row is for. You can make the font smaller. You can change the font to something more narrow. So if you go in here and you look through different font styles, You've got handwriting, corporate display. You've got every kind you can think of. There's going to be script and wide, and there's a narrow one in here somewhere. There's narrow. You almost can't read it because it's so narrow. So it just gives you all these different kinds of fonts that are narrow. If you do not have the pro version, not as many of these are probably going to show up, or they will show up, but they'll have that little crown next to them. But there are several that you can use with the free version as well. So I'm going to pick a more narrow font. And that way, those are just a little bit more discreet. I'm going to check or stretch those out a little bit. And I'm also going to make the font a little bit bigger. Okay. All right, so let's make a top for this column here. Going to be exercises. Line that up and stretch it out so it matches those. And I want to get rid of the bold. I want to get rid of the underline, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And then I could make another header here for this column that says time, but I think this is a good opportunity to use a graphic. So I'm going to type in clock. Oh, I'm in shape, so it's saying there aren't any. I'm going to go to all. So all these different versions of clocks, we're going to go to the graphics. So even though many of these are pro version, you're always going to have options that are not pro. So we're going to use this clock here. And I'm just going to show you some cool things here. So it's going to help me center it over the column. And then say I want to shrink it so that it's the same height as these. You'll see that it has that pink line there so that it made it the right height. I'm going to realign it, center it over this. And then I'm going to change the color. Many of these graphics that are pretty simple, that only are one color or maybe 3, 4 colors, Canva will give you the option to change those. So I'm going to change this to a gray color and make it go along with everything. And then just to add some dimension, I like to change the color of these boxes so that it's not just one big blob of the same color, but it kind of separates what these different sections are for. So I always do my passive as a different color, and I just think it helps split it up a little bit. So I can select all of this, and I can move it around. Okay, so I'm going to add another box here at the bottom. And this is going to be for notes. So say, the patient maybe is having a hard time doing cheek puffs with air, and you want to tell them that water is an option. In here, you're going to put some other instructions. You can change these fonts, how they look. Now, all of these so far have been centered right in the middle of the box, but maybe you want to align this so that it is not in the center, but up at the top. And that's where you're going to use that vertical alignment option. So we have selected here right in the middle of the box. If I select this, it's going to bring all that stuff down to the bottom of the box. And if I click this, it's going to bring it to the top. Now you can change the padding here so that there's more space between the edges and the font that you're using, or in the text you're using, I'm sorry. All right. I'm going to add another box. This is going to be oral rest posture. I found that when I was asking patients when they came back for their appointments to comment on where they thought their oral rest posture was most of the time, sometimes I'd get people who were like, I don't know. So I started adding it onto my sheet so that they realize at the end when they start checking all these off, that they need to be thinking throughout that 2 weeks. How often was their tongue up when they did their little check-ins with the stickers that I give them, or whatever other prompt they want to use. So oral rest posture. I'm going to make this box white, just to indicate to them that this is something they need to fill in. And then we can make another one here. And maybe their specific issue is sleep, or maybe it's TMD. And this is a spot where they can write some notes. And I know that's not a lot of space, so you can change these up. Maybe you don't need to say a whole lot in your notes. And this can stay small because all they have to do is write in a number, and then we'll make sleep notes a little bit bigger. All right. I'm going to stretch this out so everything looks nice and uniform. My explanation for passive exercises is usually a little longer anyway. So now we've got everything nice and square. All right, yet another box. I'm going to put here what materials I want the patient to use. I send these to people before we start. Sometimes I have to amend it and then edit it and send them a new one. But for the most part, I know what we're going to do next. And here is where I can tell them what materials they need. So maybe, for these, they need a button pull. They might need cotton rolls and an elastic. Shrink that a bit. I'm going to duplicate again. All right. And then we're going to do session number. Bring that up. And we'll call this session 1. I'm going to make the 1 quite a bit bigger. Okay. Now here's where we're going to add in the logo. And then we have a perfect little spot here for a line to put their name. This is my probably biggest complaint about how these work in this program. So we're going to type in line. We're going to, we're going to go to shapes. All right, so you can pick any line. You can pick a dotted line. You can pick one with arrows. You can do whatever kind of fancy stuff you want. I'm going to bring in a plain line. I'm going to change it to size 1. I don't want it to be that thick. All right, here's my complaint. This is not going to let me, how all these pink lines have been helping us so far, like it wants to help you align everything. For some reason, it does not want to let you make these lines straight. It drives me bananas. So I have found that when you zoom in, it helps because you can do it a little more fine-tuned. So see that little black box there that says 0 degrees. So for some reason, when you're zoomed in, you can make it nice and straight. It's weird. I don't know why. All right, we have a line for them to put their name. Went to text. I'm going to add another text box. I'm going to type in name in parentheses. I'm going to move it up here, shrink it down a little bit. We're going to line that up right underneath. So maybe you're sending this to a family and they're all going to be doing the same exercises, and you can send it to them just like this and they can write their name in themselves. You could also add another text box and put the name in on your own. We're going to see Johnny today. And I think it's cute to make this look like handwriting. So we're going to get out of narrow and we're going to go to this handwriting one. You've got all these different ones in here that might look a little bit more like something that you wrote in yourself. Okay. All right. So there's a basic session sheet. We're just going to make some changes. So you can center this by using those pink indicator lines to show you that you're right in the middle. I'm going to get rid of the lines that are around these boxes because I don't really like the look of it. So we're going to get rid of that. I take the toggle all the way down to 0. I want to keep the lines on these guys, so I didn't select everything. Get rid of this line. All right, I like that look. I think that looks nice. And then let's change up some colors. So click on the color here. Now, when you bring in something like your logo or you bring in an image to your project, it's going to show you all these different options that are the same as the one in that image, which is really quite cool. So I can pick a color from my logo, but in real life application, that's pretty dark and gray. So we're going to change that up. We're going to make it less gray, more blue, cheer it up a little bit. Okay, so I've made this color that I like. Now I'm going to do the same thing down here, and I'm going to show you how you can change all colors. So I'm going to pick that lighter blue that we already did. And now it's got this option all the way down here at the bottom that says change all. And it's going to let me have this option to change everything that was the gray or blue that we had to the one that I just picked. So I'm going to click change all. It's going to make all the blues change. Now we're going to change this gray as well and say that you want kind of a similar blue, but you're going to click on the option to play with the color because we want to keep that contrast between the different sections. And you're just going to go a little bit darker. And I'm going to change all of those as well. All right. The black is a little bold. I'm going to select everything and I'm going to change the font to a darker blue. And then I don't really love this font and I'm going to change it. Canvas Sans is a nice one. I feel like this one prints nicely. It looks good on paper. It's easy to read. So I just changed all those. We can change Johnny back to a fun one. I want to change the border of these black to blue to go with our theme, or I guess I had gray. I'm going to pick a darker blue and I'm going to change all of those as well. So click change all. All right, there you have it. So there is a beautiful session sheet. We can name it Johnny Myers session 1. Oops. We can save it. So go up to share. You can click download. And then I would pick PDF standard or PDF print is going to be probably the best format. Canva says this is best for printing, and I tell people to print these and check them off. So I'm going to pick PDF print and I'm going to click download. On my computer, it goes straight into the download folder, but yours might ask you where you want to save it. So now it's saved onto my computer. I can also share this. So I'm going to click share and I'm going to change this to anyone with the link I can choose edit it if you're working on a project with somebody, or comment. That's not a feature I've used before, or view. So I'm going to select view and I'm going to go to copy link and I'm going to send that link to you guys. All right, when the follow-up email comes to you, that will have the link in there so that you can play with this. All right, so I want to show you real quick what that looks like for view only. So I'm going to copy this. Oh, I have it. I have the link copied. So I'm going to open up a different browser that's not signed into the same Canva. So we're going to go into my personal browser here, and I'm going to type in that link. So this is going to pop up and it says view only. So I can't edit this. You can request access. I'm not signed in at all, so I'm not even in an account, but what you can do here is you can go to file, because I'm not signed in, it won't let me. Bear with me for just a minute. All right. So I'm signing in and it's still going to be view only. So I'm going to go up to file and make a copy. And it's going to make my own copy in my account. The title is now going to be copy of. So I can take away that and change it if I want. And now I have my own copy of this to play with. All right. So let's talk about making a different format. I'm going to select all of this. And I'm going to right click and copy. And I'm going to go up to the menu and we're going to go to create a design. We're going to do another A4, but this time we're going to do a portrait version. We're going to make a mini Myo sheet next. All right, I'm going to paste that in here because I think sometimes it's just easier to use something that you've already been working with. So I'm going to get rid of some of the things that I don't need. So for mini Myo, a lot of times I do 4 active exercises, or maybe it's 3 active and 1 passive, but I do 4. We're going to trash these. I am going to get rid of these days. So say you're working with a really little kid and they only have the capacity to do these 4 exercises once a day, and you're going to see them every 4 weeks. So we're going to do 28 days. Getting rid of all the stuff that I don't need here. So I'm going to choose 28 days. I'm going to use, because I don't have this zoomed in, I'm using the arrows on my keyboard. Sometimes that's easier than trying to click inside these things. And then I'm going to get rid of all of those other ones I don't need. Now we're going to blow these up a bit. I give kids stickers a lot of times to put in these boxes. Something else you could do, I just need to center this. Something else you could do, instead of these boxes being squares, you could round them out a little bit more and turn them into circles. So they're more of like a little circle to put the stickers in. And I'm going to get rid of these too. I'm going to zoom in a bit. We're going to make this exercise bigger. We're going to make the font bigger. I'm just going to try 20. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, 15. And this, I'm going to bring this right in on top. And I'm going to make this look like a circle by rounding it a bit more. You can't see what I'm doing because it's the same color. So I'm going to change it to this light gray color. I'm going to make the font a little bit bigger. And then maybe I want the orientation of this to be up at the top of the box. Now that's a little bit close to the border. So I'm going to up the padding, bring it down a little bit. I'm also going to align the whole thing to the left. All right, so you got a little more stuff in here, blah, blah, blah. Put a little bit of border around this. We'll change the border color to dark blue. All right, so we're going to duplicate this. Put that there. We're going to duplicate those. I must have missed that. Perfect. Okay, so here little Johnny has 4 exercises that he's going to do over 28 days. You can do the same thing here. You can give them their materials list. We want this to be quite a bit bigger. And we're going to make this a little bit bigger. And we're going to move this right here. All right, so there's just another version of a session sheet. I have at times put numbers in here. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Let's make the font bigger. So you could number these up to 28. If they're just putting stickers on top, then doing that dark on light might be just fine. Or maybe they are doing little check marks as well, and you want this font to be, or I'm sorry, the color of this font to be just something that's a little bit a shade darker. That's kind of a nice look. So you could number all of these for them if you want. Do the 28 days. You can use the arrows on your keyboard to move things around a little bit. You can spread them out. We can add some fun. I tend to do themes for kids. So one of the themes I do is monkeys. When I do like ooh, ah, and we do cheek puffs, we talk about how it looks like a monkey. So we're going to go to elements and we're going to type in monkey. We're going to go to graphics and we're going to click see all. Lots of these are going to be pro only, but you can pick any of the ones that are available to you and you can do some silly things with them. So say you want to add a monkey up here. Maybe you want to make this font bigger overall. And you want this font to be on top of the monkey. So let's work on layering. So you come down here to layer and you can bring it all the way to the front or you can just bring it forward. In this case, it's only got, there's only 2 things that are overlapped. So it's going to do the same thing. So we're going to bring this to the front, but now we can't see our monkey. So we're going to play with transparency, which I think is really fun. So we can do that. Still kind of awkward because we're on top of the monkey's face, but maybe we move it over like this. And now you've got this fun little guy hanging out there. Just makes it more fun for the kids. And you can do all kinds of silly little things like that. We can add another one here that's sitting on the box. I've got an underwater theme that I do for Mini Myo. There's a sound one where we make all kinds of sounds with our mouth. So, you know, there's different that kind of themes and graphics that you can put in here to make them more fun for kids. Again, I'm gonna share this with you guys. So anyone with the link can view, copy the link. I'll send that to you guys in the email, or it will be in the comments below. This will probably be on YouTube. All right. And then you can even add, say you want to say that you want to like all rights reserves, Ithaca, myofunctional therapy, blah, 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 2025. You can shrink that up. You can make it a little bit lighter. And then you can move that right down here. Just kind of protecting your property, you know, saying that this isn't to be shared with people if you're not in therapy with me. You could put in your phone number. You could also duplicate that, and I'm gonna hop over here. You put in your email address. And that way people, if they have any issue at all and you want them to email you or text you when there's something going on, their information is right there on the sheet. So there's all kinds of fun options with these. All right. So those are two different versions of session sheets. I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you for coming to the workshop. I absolutely love Canva. I love designing content for my own Myo practice and for MyoBloom. I'm excited to share this knowledge with you guys. I hope that you can use it and that you can play around with those files that we just made and I sent to you. If you don't know about MyoBloom already, it's a service that I created for myofunctional therapists to have access to all of the content that I've been working on for my own practice. Uh, about a year and a half in of making all this stuff, I realized that I should share it and that it was frustrating how long it had taken me. And it was kind of crazy to me that I had put that much time and effort in. And I'm like, you know what? This could be a thing. I should put this out there. So I have all kinds of stuff. I have many session sheets like these from every like number of exercises, color combo, number of days, every version you could think of. I have patient forms, contracts, letters to providers, report templates, flyers, all kinds of infographics for patients. I am also going to start a study club called the Myo Roundtable, where we chat about all things Myo, from wrapping up therapy to pre and post-op protocols to the financial aspect of running a myofunctional therapy practice. So if you want to be made aware of future events, sign up for my email list. You can sign up at myobloom.com/subscribe, or you can go to myobloom.com and click on the contact tab. We will only send out infrequent emails about upcoming events or promo codes or any new services or offers that we have. So the next workshop that I'll be doing next month will be on creating referral forms to send for offices that are sending people your way. So we'll use Canva, of course, and we'll discuss different formats such as full sheets opposed to smaller dimension ones that you can use to order referral pads. At that workshop, we're also going to talk about creating logos with transparent backgrounds if you don't already know how to do that or have one of those, and also creating QR codes. Thank you again for coming. These workshops will happen every third Monday night of the month for the following 4 months. The next one is on Monday, May 17th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you haven't already registered for the whole series and you'd like to take advantage of the discount that was available when purchasing all 5 workshops as a bundle, you can use the promotional code ALL5. That's one word, ALL5, when checking out for a $25 discount when the bundle option is selected. And that's on myobloom.com/grow or myobloom.com, and you can click on the events tab. All right, everybody have a great night. I hope to see you all for round 2 next month.